I seem to see you and hear you. Hello.
So sorry. Yeah, hello. Okay. Ah, network. Hello everyone. So sorry about that. We have network issues. I don't know. I'm just hoping that we are able to end this session smoothly without any network challenge. Good afternoon to you all, and I welcome you to our class today. And today, as you all know, we are talking about. I hope I can be heard. Please let me know if you can hear me and can see me. Let me know in the comment section. In case you are catching a replay, kindly let me know if you can hear me. So today we are actually going to talk about raising your special needs child. Some time ago, I think last week or so, we gave an opportunity to parents in our community to share the challenges that they face in their parenting. A lot of people actually received quite a number of messages, and I decided to open up to inform parents to share the challenges so that at least we can handle that for them. Because I know that every challenge that you are facing in your parenting, there is a solution. Only if you are willing to learn, only if you are willing to take the necessary steps to go further so that you can help your child. So I gave that opportunity, and a few parents reached out. They gave us, they sent their challenges. So we are handling them. Those that we have to come live and talk about it, we will. And those that we can do some short videos and then, talk about it too. We that is what we do. We actually do that. So today I'm here with my very good friend Anne. She's a pharmacist at the Okonkwo Teaching Hospital, and she is actually the head of the pediatric unit over there. She is also someone who deals with children with special needs, and also parents. She works with parents with special needs children, and she's the best person who can actually talk about this. I just thought when the question came, I just thought to myself, okay, let's undo this because she's the one who is experienced with this. So I'd want to invite her on stage so that we can take off without wasting much time. All right. Hello. Whoa. Please give me a moment. Okay. Okay, I think we are good to go now. Hello, Anne. I welcome you to the
Hello.
class today.
Hello, my dear friend, coach. Thank you, and it's a privilege to be here.
All right. So today, as you already know, we are talking about raising your special needs child. I know that when it comes to this, this topic, very like you are a specialist in this field. So that is why we've invited you to come here and share with us. So I'll just leave the stage for you to go ahead with it.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anne, as my friend Coach Ikuya said. Um, I'm a pharmacist, but today I want to talk to you as a parent of a special needs child. Um, Even though I'm a pharmacist, I am sure I also go through a lot of the challenges that most of you I want to share a little bit about my journey. So I have a daughter who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 5. A lot of people will say 5. You're supposed to be a healthcare worker. You're supposed to see these signs very early. Unfortunately, as I'm saying that, I'm also like a parent like you. My first daughter really started speaking around 3. So when my daughter was not talking, I really didn't see it as a problem. However, after 3 years and she started becoming very aggressive, disruptive, we clearly knew something was wrong. But I still did not click that it could be autism until finally at the age of 5 I was like, okay, I am going to have my child checked out, go and do all the ENT assessments. And because of my own passion for parents with special needs, I was already, even though I'm the pharmacy manager, but I decided to work with the pediatric neurology team that also sees patients, all kinds of patients. I've been working with parents for years. So I talked to our consultant that, no, I need you to assess my daughter for me. And I was actually shocked when the diagnosis came as autism. I was like, wow. It's like all the signs were there, but for some reason I couldn't. Then, of course, the usual practice at the hospital, they'll give you a list, go and see a speech therapist, go and see occupational therapist, a whole lot. There was a lot to process. And so, what did I do after the diagnosis? It took my husband and I, we talked about it. And what probably set us apart a bit was that at the end of the day, we realized that we have the diagnosis. If we cry, we complain, it's not going to go away. What are we going to do about it? So we had to learn as much as possible. But the first thing we wanted to do, we wanted to find a school for her because prior to that, she had not done well in most of the schools. She's been kicked out of her previous school. We were homeschooling, which was not going well because I was working. My mom had to help out. So it was a lot of challenge. So we wanted to get the right school. So I talked to a colleague friend who also had a child with autism, and she recommended a school. But as I went to that school, they said they were doing assessment. But the first thing, as I waited, I just heard from God that I don't need my kid to, it was a clever, I don't need my kid to be here to get my kid to talk or to function well. So the moment they brought my daughter, I was not even surprised when they said he's too hyperactive, they can't take him, the best they can do is to coach me to continue whatever I'm doing at home. I said, okay, thank you. I already knew what was going to happen. So when I went to I started searching online, doing everything possible to try and get some answers. Then I stumbled onto a speech therapy course online. I think it's Agents of Speech. I'm still with them. They have some free courses that I took, but they advertise for my kid still speaks just one word, cannot speak as I yet. But I've seen a lot of it. At first, it was just mute. She was not saying anything. So they have helped me now. At least she doesn't. She may not speak, but we have a way of communicating. She uses gestures. She's more settled because she knows how to communicate what she wants, even though she cannot speak fully and express herself. Things are a bit calmer. So even though my child is was diagnosed to be on the spectrum, usually we don't really say a child is autistic. It's It's a spectrum, and every autistic child is different. You cannot have two that are the same. There are similarities, but all of them are unique in their way. My child is autistic, but what I'm coming to share with you in terms of my journey so far, it can be applied to any special needs child. So, what have I learned in the past 2 years since I decided to take control of my child's care and not leave it to doctors, caregivers, or anybody? I don't have a house help. I have my mom is 80 years old. She helps by just watching her sometimes. But of course, if you know a special needs child, especially an autism, they are very, very hyperactive. Even I can't control. It pushes my husband away. He's just 6 years, 6.5, almost to be 7 in April. He can push my husband out of the way. My husband can't control, so let alone an 80-year-old. But at least it's still a source of support. So I had to find a way to be able to work around all these things and work. What I would recommend as a first thing is if you've had a diagnosis, as much as possible, contact your, try and study as much as possible. When next you go to the hospital, talk to your doctor. Just get a fair assessment of what your child can and cannot do and what does the diagnosis mean for neurological development. It doesn't mean it's a life sentence, but at least just get a professional opinion as to what it means. When you are done with that, the next thing I would want you to do is whatever you do, if you have a special needs child, I'm sure with Coach Ekia, she's talked about screen. Whatever you do, get rid of screen. For me, the very first thing I did was I actually took my TV out of the hall and I locked it in a room. Up to today, we don't watch TV in our home. So, like, I have two other kids. I have three. People are surprised that I say I don't have TV in my house. We all, as a family, decided that we we are not going to stigmatize that one child of us that she can't watch TV. All of us are in it together. We are supporting each other as a family. So nobody is watching TV. It was difficult initially, but now even the other kids are better off without the TV because we are focused on real activities, things that they can actually learn from the environment, and they are practicing. They are more focused and structured in their life. So get rid of the television screens, phones, whatever. Get it because what that is that they are most of them these special needs. They are already hyperactive, and so these screens they stimulate their brain so much, and they also learn quickly. They may not speak, they may not really verbalize a lot of things, but they learn a lot from the environment and from the things they see. And so now they can jump hoops because they are seeing it on these, especially with these kids. The kids on the screen, they are jumping, so it becomes normal when they can jump. And especially with some autistic kids, they don't have any sense of danger. They can climb on top of the highest, fall. They don't even think that they're going to get hurt. And so too much stimulation, it affects their sleep. It also makes them more daring and their hyperactivity is going to get worse. I know that it's difficult just dealing with these kids all day. You will tire yourself out. So sometimes the screen is a way out. However, you will do more damage and you are not going to get anywhere with the screen. It's going to make your life worse. So please get rid of the screen. If you can avoid it totally, avoid. If you can't, maybe maximum, especially with the maximum is like an hour a whole week. But if you can avoid, just get it out. What other things will I say? The school choice. So eventually, with all my reading and studying and research, I realized that one of the best schools for kids with special needs is not this quote unquote special school. Where we say a special school, it means that the school, everybody there is kind of have an issue. It's what quote unquote say abnormal. When you take your kid to such a school, it gets worse. It means whatever challenge they have, they and I told you they learn from picking from other people. So they are going to pick more abnormal behaviors from the other kids. So what you want to do is to find an inclusive school. An inclusive school is a school is basically for normal kids, but they have a section for children with special needs that they rehabilitate and according to their ability. Once they are able to achieve certain milestones, they transition them into the normal school. That is the kind of school you should be looking for. Then the second thing, after the school, what you need to know, and I'm sure you are very privileged to be at Project Pierce Academy. Work on your emotional intelligence. Buy courses. Anything about emotional intelligence, pursue it like your life depends on it. Why am I saying that? Because those kids, they will try pick every button in the world, and they thrive on getting attention because they can. Most of them cannot communicate or express themselves well. They are trying to communicate. However, they tend to adapt to what gets your attention the most. So if they pick your buttons, even negative attention is better. They take negative attention than no attention. So they'll pick your buttons. So if they try that this thing work, it cause you to talk, to scream. At least you paid attention to. They will do, and it will be worse. What you would want to do as a parent of a special needs is to be able to learn to control yourself. Do not react to your child, otherwise everything that they are doing will get worse. They like predictability, so they are going to continue to do what got them results the other time. And so do not be too predictable. Control yourself. Take the no yelling challenge, any kind of emotional, take it, practice it, so that you'll be able to control yourself. One thing you need to know about these kids is that most of the, especially with autistic kids, autism is not a diagnosis, it's not a disease. It's just that autistic children, they see the world in a different way. So the way we are processing things is not the way they are processing it. And so they may look very normal to you. You think that you don't understand why everything is normal. And sometimes they even appear to be understanding what they're saying, but they are still doing things in a different way. That's how they are. So your goal as a parent is to learn how the child processes things and relate with their environment and adapt your life to it if you are going to make any headway. Another thing, if your child is challenged with speech, invest in getting speech therapists. One thing I have found with during my journey is that I know we are corporates. I work in the hospital. They'll give you referrals to be chasing, go from one clinic to the other. They are good, but the parents, the kids who had challenges, special needs kids that I have seen that have made something out of their life, they almost all of them have one thing in common. They had a parent who was committed to their care, did not leave their care to their teachers, their therapists, their whatever, but they took control of the therapy. It means when you are taking your child to therapy or you are doing it to your home, you need to know what the therapy is about. You need to school yourself. You need to have times that you practice that section with your child. Do not leave it to caregivers, to teachers, to therapists. You will spend a lot. It's very expensive. These uh, therapy sessions, very expensive. And so if you leave it that 1 hour, 2 hour session, you go and you come home and you think you are making a headway, you will not make a headway. But rather, learn whatever the therapy is about. Take session times in the day and practice. At least minimum, you should do 30 minutes a day of therapy session alone. Another thing too with special needs, I see with special needs parents is most of us are believing for a miracle. I believe in miracles. We prayed about it, and I am working out for a miracle. But a lot of them seem to get hung up on the miracle such that they forget that, like any normal child, they need to be taught life skills. You cannot pray over your kids to be able to learn how to bath, how to brush their teeth, how to lay their bed. Those are life skills that are taught in the house. But basically, because of their special needs, we tend to give them a lot of tasks, and we are waiting for the special needs aspect to be resolved before we tackle all those things. By the time we realize your child is 15, doesn't know how to bath, doesn't know how to brush their teeth, you are still doing everything. I always tell the parents that come into my counseling room at the hospital that how are you equipping your child such that when you are not there, your child will survive? Unfortunately, some of these special needs, nobody wants them. You are basically the lifeline for your child. And so you have to focus on doing everything such that you make sure your child is independent. Another thing that I see parents also do is that they are trying every possible to make their kids normal in quotes. But what is your kid's normal? That is what you need to work towards. Apart from your therapy session, most of these special needs kids are extremely gifted in one area. Extremely gifted. But the only way you'll be able to recognize this is when you are paying attention. So this also brings me to one key thing that you need to practice is routine. Special needs kids thrive on routine. They need to know it has to be the same thing. So when we wake up in the morning, this is the first thing we do. We do this, we do that. So this is the morning routine. This is afternoon routine. This is weekend routine. This is night. It has to be the same all the time, is very stressful. But see it that it's also building discipline in you as a parent. And so if you deviate from the routine, it's almost going to lead to a tantrum. And so you need to build a routine and build your family life and structure around the kids' routine. Even your sleep pattern, if you have to adjust it to suit your kid, you have to do it. Most of these special needs, especially with autistic kids, one of the key complaints, my child can, some of them will complain and they end up giving them sleep medication. You are not solving the root cause of the problem. You need to identify things, get strategy. So one thing that helped me with my child it was also one was that I realized that when he sleeps in the day, it's very difficult for him to sleep. He will sleep after 9 o'clock. So at all costs, I have to avoid him sleeping during the day. Because for me, I like to sleep early and wake up. And so I was trying to get my kids' routine to be suited to me so I also don't end up so stressed. And so I cut out all sleeping during the day. And another thing, avoid sugar at all costs. Sugar, no, because you see, it's sugar, it's a source of energy, it makes them more hyperactive. So you can replace your sugars with honey. It's a bit expensive, but the cost of having your sleep compared to sugar, you have to weigh that one and invest in that. And so what I did was that now she doesn't sleep. I replace all sugar. We don't eat. She doesn't eat sugar in the house. Every time that she needs sugar, I replace it with honey. Then I make sure that after school, as part of her routine, right after her homework, she goes and plays at least 30 minutes, jump around, run around with her sisters, be climbing to make her a bit tired. So that by the time we end up bathing, brushing our teeth, doing our evening activity, and saying our bedtime story, by 7:30 she's asleep. Sometimes she's so tired she sleeps throughout the night. But the earliest she probably wake up is around 3 or 2. That is also my waking time. And so, but I don't wake up because I want to just watch I want to be working or doing certain working on projects. So what do? I develop a strategy that what does my daughter like? That's what I said. You need to study your child and build a routine and observe. She likes books. She likes puzzles. So when she sleeps, I make sure I get a bowl, pack all the things that she likes into it, put it right at her bed. And so if she happens to wake up at dawn, she sees it, she just flips it open. She can sit by those things throughout the next 3 hours while I also work. I solve my problem. But these things don't come by just wishing, crying, praying, leaving it to therapists. You need to build an effective routine and stick with it. I cannot overemphasize with that. Another thing I also want to quickly talk about is family. Special needs kids. If you don't take care, they can destroy your family. The stress of taking care of a special needs can have its tolls on your marriage, your other children, because they feel like you're giving preferences to that child. and they are not getting the needed attention. That is something you have to absolutely avoid, because you will need help financially. If you have a broken home, you are going to struggle. The finances and the care that these kids need, you can't do it alone. So what you need to do is sit down with your partner, decide on what role. Me, my husband clearly told me she cannot teach, she cannot practice that, he cannot, he just can't teach a kid. And you have to, the other partner has to learn to be okay with it. So what is he bringing on board? Okay, we agree. When he is here, because he works outside Kumasi, when he is here, he takes up certain activities that he's more comfortable, like relieve me of washing for that weekend. And there are, because we don't have a house help, we agree that I'm going to save my house help money, and every 3 months I just book a weekend holiday just to myself. My husband comes just to take care of the kids, whilst I can pamper myself. Anything to get my mind the off the stress. So I know whilst I'm stressing, I have something to look up to. Financially, we know how much he has to contribute. So you have to sit with your partner and discuss. And then don't be angry or bitter when you have agreed that you do this, but you still feel, of course, you'll be overwhelmed. It's not helping enough. The temptation will always come, but avoid strife in your marriage. Otherwise, if you allow it, the condition alone can drive the marriage apart. And involve your other kids in the case. Sit them down, explain the condition of that child, and let them take part. Me, my daughters help. They are all aware of the therapy, what we are working on. So now we are using flashcards to teach her work. So we are working on 4 words for this week. And so I teach my daughters. So when they are playing, they mention her name, they say apple. Then she say apple. Then they are also taking part in the therapy, so that it doesn't look like it's all one. It relieves you of the stress, and they are all involved in the activity, and make time for the other kids too. It looks a bit overwhelming, but I'm sure when you structure it and you take your time, you find a way that works best. The last thing I want to talk about is dealing with depression. See, it's very common about among parents of kids. I know that everybody sees your kid and they think it's all about the kid, but everybody forgets about the caregiver, the parent. It's so stressful, and so do everything to avoid being depressed. It doesn't mean you will not feel depressed or overwhelmed. Once in a while you feel, but you have to have your own internal mechanisms for you to deal with stress. You can have like my rest time that I'm looking up to, which helps me. Read about success stories of your child's condition. So in Ghana, for cerebral palsy, you can read about Farida Bedway. She's a software engineer. Her mom actually has a book. One thing that I also do a lot is I go on Amazon and look about books on autism and parents. But I love Farida Bedway. The mother is Lydia Bedway. She wrote about her book is The Unconventional Mother. You can get it on Amazon. You can buy the ebook, which is not so expensive. I learned one trick from her. She said in her book that for her to teach a particular life skill or any skill, she was averaging 6 weeks to teach a skill. So imagine you are teaching your kid to say a particular word, or to learn to put something at a particular place, and it can take, excuse me, 6 weeks. How? But from her, but if I look at the results she had, I want that result. So if it's going to take me 6 weeks to teach my daughter that when you pick your dresses, you put it at this place, at least at the end of 6 weeks, I would have made a word rather than giving up after 1 week, say you are tired, and then come back 3 months, you are still at the same place. So be motivated that, okay, it can take 6 weeks to 2 months to teach a skill. You can get your results earlier. Some of the results can be later. And so when you are teaching one thing and it seems forever, please picture that mother who has a success story and see that there's light at the end of the tunnel. There are other books, like for autism, there are 10 things every child with autism wishes you know. I wish every parent who has autism buys that book. You understand your kids better and how they are perceiving the world. And why there's so much abuse on our part on our kids because we don't understand them and they also don't understand us. And imagine feeling so lost in the world and your only source of hope keeps beating you, smashing you. I'm sure coach will tell you the trauma that you place on your kid by just beating your kid. The key thing is when your child is misbehaving, the number one thing, find out why is he doing that. One example I can quote is that my daughter kept on pouring the water on the like when he drinks a sachet water, he just leaves it on the floor. So it just hits my mind that oh, she doesn't know where to put it. But I just assumed initially that it's just a simple rocket science. You pick water, you put it back. So I purposely decided that anytime she drinks water, I stand by her and I just hold her hand with the water, lead her back into the fridge, a particular place I say she should put it there. It took me almost 2 months, like Lydia Bedway suggested. And today, my daughter, even if she sees that other people have put their water somewhere, she picks it up and go and put it at the place where I say they should put it. Another thing you know about these autistic kids and some of these special needs kids, they are like an open book. They are basically plain. Whatever you put there, it sticks. You can't take it back. So you have to be careful what you are teaching, whether verbally or in your action. Another example that I'm struggling with once I came home, I wanted to use the bathroom, but I just could not walk to the room. And so there was a small gutter in my house. I had to stand there. I didn't know my daughter was watching. Now, anytime we are playing in the compound, my daughter refuses to go inside to use the washroom and stands at the exact spot that I really. That is where she now has interpreted it that we really. So look at how they are perceiving their environment. So if you don't understand these things, you keep doing things anyhow. She's speaking it, she's modeling it, she's giving you the feedback, and you get more frustrated. And so I would like to stop here. There's a lot I can share, but I can't talk about everything I know in just this short session. But I hope I have stimulated certain things in you. Get into the book. Let me read my list of how to avoid dealing with depression, stress, and overwhelming, and even suicidal thoughts. A lot of mothers, caregivers are having suicidal. They are so overwhelmed. They just want to end it all. Please, one thing I'm reading a list, and I'll end with it. Strategies you can deal with depression. You have to have a picture of who your child will be. Those of us who are Christians, who are religious, pray to God, ask God, what is, give me a picture of my child's future. So that any time that you are discouraged, you have to have that picture that God says that my child will be a lawyer, my child will be a professor, and let that motivate you to snap out of your depression. Always remember if you have had a prophecy about your child, remember that prophecy in your depressive mood and snap out of it. Success stories of others who have made it. If you don't know, Elon Musk is on the spectrum. He's autistic. He's on the autistic spectrum. As I said, these special needs, they are extremely gifted in one area. It is our role as parents to find that and do everything we can to support that. Don't try and fit them into a normal school. He has to learn how to write. He has to learn how to do because that is the structure of the school. No. What is your child's best chance at making it in life? Focus on that area and build it. Even if it's a skill you can master that you can monetize and live on, focus on that. And stop trying to get a child to write, trying to do this, trying to be normal. Please, you won't make any way. There was a recent professor in Cambridge, Jason Ade. I learned that he spoke his first word at the age of 11. Now he's the first black professor in Cambridge. So please, such stories should motivate you. And I said, Ghana, we have one. Farida Bedwe, severe cerebral palsy. Google her name, Farida Bedwe. Severe cerebral, she has gone ahead to build software company, saying that are helping banking solutions. She, as a CEO, she went to university, read her mother's book, The Unconventional Mother, read it, and you get inspired. You can also look at it that all the routines that you are building, it's also building discipline. I am now a very disciplined person in a lot of ways. I now learn consistently 3 hours because my child is up. I wake up at 2. Between 2 to 5, I'm always working seriously. I didn't used to do that, and now my other areas I want to focus on it has disciplined me, and I'm consistently doing that. And learn to take stock. I'm sure Coach Kia will teach you about journaling. Take stock. If you are just looking at where you want your child to be, maybe I want my child to talk, I want my child to be normal. That is like the long haul. So you will never be satisfied with any results that you are getting. But as I say, if you are taking the therapy goals and you are journaling about it, if you pick it 6 months and you read it, you will see how far the improvements that you have made. Journal, document it so that it can inspire you that you are making a headway. Then, since you are going to build structure and it's a lot of work, focus on essentialism, especially for the working caregivers who are primarily taking care of their children. Focus on essentialism. You cannot be in every church activity. You cannot be the one doing everything at the workplace, everything you are the one standing there. You have a special needs child who requires your attention. And so, what is essential? Do those ones. Anything you are doing at your workplace that is making you so tired, is it worth it? If you can delegate, let it go. If even if it means that you don't go for that kind of job, it's okay. Think about your child. What is essential? And don't overwhelm yourself. Become so tired you cannot even spend 15 minutes to work on therapy with your child. It means that your priorities are somewhere out of balance. You need to sit and take stock of your life. If you are doing something that is not so essential, so much work, church activity requires that you have to be there every, you don't need to be there. There will be a stage in your life where you will be free to do all these activities. But it may not be now that your child is young. And also find your time, yourself in a community of um, parents, maybe if it's cerebral palsy or special needs, so that you can be inspired, you can encourage each other, and you can be inspired by the successes that people are doing. If you are just locked in your own corner, you will continue to be depressed because you don't see anything. But as you go, you keep joining your sessions, your community, people are sharing success story, at least you'll be inspired. That's the agent of speech, the speech therapist I found online. You can Google agent of speech. He also has a community every week. Parents who are working on their child, some of them share. I read some of them. Some of them share strategies that they are working, that are helping. I try to adopt some and incorporate. At least if I see that they say their child is 7, finally spoke the first word, I get encouraged. But finally, make time to pamper yourself and rest. It is absolutely non-negotiable. If you do not make time to reach, especially the primary person who is responsible of taking care of their child, the child with special needs, make time at least once a week should be an off day for you. The other caregiver, the staff, should be able to relieve you of it. Take hold of your kid whilst you rest for a minimum of 4 to 5 hours. Or do what you like. If it's movie, if it's something that you enjoy doing once a week, you should be able to take off and be able to maybe in 3 months or 6 months, just take time off so that you can recharge and come back strong and healthy for your child. Thank you. I think I'll stop here. And if I have questions or any clarifications, I can take it now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anne. It's been a very insightful session. I'm outside actually, my network all over the house. I can't get any place, so I had to come out. So thank you so much for this session. I believe we've learned a lot. It's been very, very insightful. So one thing that I would want to add is that if you have an autistic child or if you have a special needs child, tell yourself, don't ask yourself, why me, why should this happen to me? I know it's normal, it's something you didn't expect, but it just happened. So tell yourself, ask yourself that, why is this even happening to me? It's probably because of something. The world needs you to solve other people's problems. The child chose you for a reason. And you have to know the reason why. You have to, think positively all the time, and you can move through this. I know. And if you have any questions, I don't think there are any questions, and Anne has to go pick up her children from school. So we would end here. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this class. Thank you so much. And I believe parents who will catch replay will
Thank
also learn more. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of the day and have a good evening. Bye.
you. Bye.
Okay, so we would like to end here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. We really appreciate. You can share this link to other parents. They can also join Catch Replay and learn a lot. We will be bringing you another session next 2 weeks, and I know you are going to be here to learn again. Thank you for joining. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.